everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be the Avengers tag video. Erika from The Perks of Books tagged me to do this video and I have been putting it off for about a month now. Better late than never, right? I will link her channel and I will link the original tag video in the description below so you can check them out because they're both really cool and they got some really great content. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So the first one is Iron Man, and it's a book that made you laugh out loud. So for this, I'm picking Confessions of a Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella. This is my copy from when I was like 10 years old. So for the last decade, I've been reading this book, and every single time I read it, it makes me just feel better about the fact that I am a klutz and I cannot save money to save my life because the main character cannot do that either. Just in the first couple chapters, the irony is just so prevalent. The main character writes for a company called Successful Savings, but literally is so in debt that she does not remember the things that she buys on a daily basis. Becky just says things that are just so funny and probably what we're all thinking in different situations but are too afraid to share with other people. Every single time I find something new to laugh about, and if you're anything like me, you will also laugh just at the pure irony of the situations that Becky finds herself in. The next one is Captain America, and it's a book that sends a positive message. And the first book that came to mind is a book that I read last semester in my young adult lit class, and that is American Born Chinese by Jeanne Yang, and it is a graphic novel. And the pictures are a lot of fun, so just in that way it kind of brightens your day and sort of pulls you out of whatever rut you might be in. The theme of the story is accepting who you are, accepting your culture, and figuring out how to fit in but also not giving up important aspects of your character to do so. And so you follow the main characters of Jeanne, Danny, and the Monkey King, and it's really funny just to see how these stories are being told linearly, but in the end they sort of come together in a really surprising way with a twist that literally made me laugh but also was very heartwarming as well. Oh, it's raining! The next one is The Black Widow, and it is a book with a kick-butt female protagonist. For this, I decided to go with Alice from Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. How could there be more of a kick-butt female protagonist than Alice? Alice goes through the ringer. She goes to another world, down a rabbit hole. She talks to a cat. She talks to rabbits. She talks to a Mad Hatter who is just insane. She also deals with a queen who wants to chop her head off, but through this entire thing, she just remains the most cool and collected attitude of anyone I have ever seen. I aspire to be Alice. Alice is goals when it comes to dealing with stressful situations. If you could deal with the prospect of being beheaded, SATs, college, relationships, social pressures, nothing. Alice would be totally cool and collected to the whole thing, and I bet she would not even sweat. Next one is Hawkeye, and it's an underrated book you wish people would pay attention to. For this, I'm picking The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. It's a New York Times bestseller, which doesn't really qualify it as an underrated book. This book is childhood. It captures the beauty of what having a vibrant and endless imagination is like as a child. It's focused on a middle-aged man who goes back to his childhood home and then subsequently visits this girl at the end of the lane. Her name is Letty. She lives there with her grandmother, and there's a pond behind her house that she claims is an ocean, and he is quite skeptical about it, but as the book progresses, you find these fantastical elements sort of just leaking out of the everyday, ordinary world that he exists in or thought about. Prose is so simple, but it's so beautiful, and it just strikes such a chord. It's so good. Everyone, read it, please. Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Go get it now. Here, have this copy. Please, just read it. The next one is The Hulk, and it's a book that makes you angry. And for this, I didn't pick a book that made me really angry, like I didn't like it, but more of a book that's frustrating, and I picked Tender as the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. If you saw my Book Dominoes video from the Booktubeathon, you would know that I picked this book for a book that is older than me and a book that has yellow on the cover. I did not get through it. I'm only 88 pages in. But I feel like I've spent so long reading it, and I think it just has to do with the fact that Fitzgerald just has very dense prose, but also He spends a lot of time developing the characters. The story is really beautiful. The main character is a very young actress, and she gets involved with the divers, and they're this very rich but sort of elusive couple that she is very much enamored by. They have the ability to really live life to the fullest extent, and everyone loves them and everyone sort of thinks that they're wonderful. She kind of just wants to get a piece of that, but more so she wants to get a piece of the diver, if you know what I mean. I really like the characters, but I feel like Fitzgerald just spends way too much time developing them, and there's also a lot of side characters which I'm not really sure are important. So frustrating, but so good. And the next one is Thor, and it's a book with a character whose strength you admired. And for this, I picked Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Once again, when I think about characters that I admire, I somehow come back to books that I read as a kid because they sort of modeled my behavior and attitudes towards life. It's hard to not give anything away about this book and still describe why her strength is so admirable, but just know that the main character is a child and her parents disappear. And I know that as a kid, the idea of having your parents just go away is just such a scary thing. Coraline as a character has a certain level of bravery that I feel like diminishes as we grow older, as we develop these newfound fears. This character is just so admirable, and I definitely recommend it. It has some dark undertones, but I feel like any kind of person can read this book, and I feel like that's how it goes for most of Neil Gaiman's novels. And the last one is a book with a twist or surprise that tricked you, and I'll preface this by saying that it's really difficult for a book to genuinely surprise me, but I am reading We Were Liars as we speak, so that might change. But one book that I can recall that genuinely did surprise me was Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. It's a little bit cliche because everyone talks about how this book surprises them. What really surprised me was Gillian Flynn's ability to write such a book and structure it in such a way where the writing drastically changes at one point in the book and you're just left breathless because you did not see it coming. The idea of an unreliable narrator has never been more true than in this book. Definitely tricked me, and this is the only one that I can think really tricked me in a long time. But like I said, I am currently reading We Were Liars, so we'll see if that changes. Thank you guys so much for watching my Avengers book tag video. I am going to tag Mollie from Mollie Reads because I told you I was going to tag you in this, I think during the booktube-a-thon, so finally here. I'm going to tag Jeanne from Such a Bookaholic because I've been absolutely loving her content lately and I would love to see your take on this. I'm going to tag Kate from Girl Reading because I actually, in your most recent video, I saw that you were reading Black Widow, and so I think that you'd actually find this really interesting. And then lastly, I'm going to tag a channel that I actually just discovered yesterday, and they're so much fun. They're the Bedtime Book Club, and so I tag all three of you lovely ladies, and I would love to see your take on this. And so that's all I'm going to tag for now, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye!